What's happening, guys? So we've actually just got ourselves in a taxi, which was not the plan. We're heading back to the airport to get our car so we can actually drive up the Alps now after a 16-hour all-in travel from Glasgow to Italy, which should not have been that long, but we're here now. We'll talk to you about all the delays, the setbacks, the detours in which we had to kind of go through shortly, but it's time to go. It is time to fucking go. Cannot wait to get in the car and test my driving skills on the other side of the road in Italy. First time for everything, so I'll see you very soon. Hey, you back, guys, hope you're good. So currently just travelling up to Livigno right now. We've got the whip, the Italian whip, the Fiat Panda, I think it is. Very odd experience driving on this side of the road, I'm not going to lie. A little bit sketchy coming out of Milan, but hey ho, I feel like I've got the knack of it now, and we're on this road for the next 40 miles, so give me a little bit of time to actually settle in and enjoy just getting used to driving on these weird roads. But I'm excited after obviously all of yesterday's palaver with the delays, the flights, the setbacks, getting passed around like a bag of shit that nobody wants. We made it, we're in Italy now, so excited to get up to Livigno now. We're listening to a lovely car playlist that Amy put on. What was it called?
Something road trips. So I've not had any food yet. I'm just highly caffeinated and very underhydrated, so I'm looking forward to getting some food in later on. But this morning I was a little bit nervous, obviously, for the drive, and I don't normally eat till late in the day, so get it worked out. But we'll see you up at Livigno. Hopefully we can maybe source a nice restaurant, a nice walk, and potentially even a gym before I get stuck into work for this evening. But guys, we'll see you in the next scene. So we've been on the road now for coming up about 2.5, maybe even 3 hours, and Amy, behind the cam right now, the lovely fiance, has found a way to get to Livigno without actually crossing the Swiss border. So we get to avoid a €150 border passing toll, we'll call it, which is cool. So we're going up through Bormio, and the scenery is absolutely stunning. Like, even if you can see around us right now, just immersed in some amazing hills and mountains, and yeah, it's fucking amazing. But I'm feeling excited. We're going to get up there probably the next hour and a half. We're going to get settled in, check out exactly the accommodation, what's going on. Hopefully, this is what my mind's saying, I'd love to find a gym. Don't know if we will, but I'd love to find a gym. Amy's probably like, what the fuck? Fat chance. But I'd love to get a wee upper body session in or something, get a wee pump. And yeah, just kind of, when I'm travelling, right, I always enjoy actually getting a workout in, because it just kind of resets me. It just allows me to feel like I'm settled into the place I'm in. I know it maybe sounds weird, but I love it. I just love it. But feeling excited for what's to come over the next couple of days, marathon and stuff like that. So we'll see you up at the Alps. We'll see you up at the Alps, guys. Catch you in a wee bit. What's happening, guys? So we're in Livigno now, a beautiful ski chalet resort, and it's stunning, absolutely stunning. It is a little bit of me. So we're currently looking for a place to go eat because man is feeling malnourished. And then we've got potentially a gym session tonight because we've found a gym which is awesome, which is only like a mile away, and we've got some work to do as well, which is not ideal. Wee bit of a hassle at the resort already in which we're staying at. The women, the most do-her-face ever, didn't want to change our rooms, but there was screaming kids beside our apartment, so we had to get out of there. But have a wee spin about, beautiful hills, all that kind of stuff. But we're going to follow the music and hopefully find some exciting stuff. Let's go. Good morning, guys, hope we're good. So today is the day of the marathon. As you can see, we are just at the first checkpoint, ready to check in. It's very early, as you can see. Muzza behind the camera has got the morning grumps, but is what it is. Very excited, I've fueled up, got a wee protein shake in me, a couple of little pastries, so I'm feeling carved up and ready to rock and roll off the back of an amazing sleep as well last night. Don't think Amy had a good sleep, but I did. I know I'm kind of doing like a documentary for Amy as well, just for her narrative, but it's just been like, she's in a cream puff this morning, a little huff, so it's funny, but taking it in, it's icy cold this morning, absolutely fucking freezing. I'm choking for a coffee, so that is port number one, port of call number one. Get a coffee in, sign in, register, get my camel pack filled up with all the goodies which are required and necessary for the run today, and then get stuck into it. So I'll see you on the run, guys. Let's go. Oh, hope we're good. So we're coming up for 8:30 now, and the race is about to kick off. Very chilly morning. I know I've said that in the previous scene, but I'm fucking freezing. Like, we're meant to be in Italy here. It's summer. Why is the sun not out?
Because we're in the Alps.
And why am I not in a tank top?
2,000 metres above sea level.
I'm not enjoying it. I'm not enjoying it, but my backpack, as you can see, is filled to the brim with Gatorade, and I'm buzzing to slurp on that throughout the entire race. And I've got a couple of snacks in here as well, so feeling good. No coffee this morning, which is not ideal because we left so early. Nothing seems to be open in this strange little town. But Amy luckily had this little, I don't even know what it was.
Like a little coffee to go.
Coffee to go and a little, with a wee
It's like
straw.
the milk things.
A little chocolatey, very syrupy black coffee thing. So we had that and it ran right through me. It ran all the way through me and the guts did not enjoy it, but we've registered. I think Amy's got my number, hopefully.
No, it's in the car.
And Amy's not got my number, so we'll go back, get my number, we'll go from there.
Allora, spostati un attimo, fermi. Enzo, vieni qui che dai. E viva la Trivigno, viva il Super Marathon. Pronti a partire? Enzo Maia dalla via. Allora, via! È partita la seconda edizione della Trivigno. 3 distanze, maratona, mezza maratona.
So, it's been wrap up for the bingo marathon. My body's in absolute bits. I'm sunburnt. I've got armpit rash, dehydrated as shit, and my legs, my knees, my hips, oh, they need an MOT. But we're round the corner from the finish line. Cannot wait for a pint, get my feet up, and relax. What a day it's been. Just over 5 hours of moving. Oh, I'm gonna need a good night's sleep tonight. See you soon, guys. Easily one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life. See, with this heat, the altitude, everything combined. Fuck, no coffee as well, literally no caffeine. Like, what's that all about? But I'm just done. And I'm tired of you over there, guys, but I need to chill. So I want to debrief the race from the other day, and as you can probably tell, I'm extremely sunburnt, which is not ideal, and I'm actually going to start with the end in mind. So where I'm at right now, off the back of the race, the main thing in which is causing me issues, causing me problems, is the extreme sunburn. I think it's the worst sunburn I've ever had in my entire life. Body is feeling a little bit run down off the back of it. I've got little like blisters and stuff. Feels like I've got all these blood clots in my nose. I've never ran in that heat for that amount of time, and I think my body is just relatively done in. So that's one thing that I've had to take into consideration, because the lines, tan lines, are ridiculous. Hopefully it develops into a nice tan. But the race itself was an amazing experience. It was an extremely challenging experience, but an amazing one at that. The first half marathon, the first half of the race went extremely well. There was no challenges, no issues with fueling, with energy, with how my body felt. But once we got to roughly 33 kilometers in, and it was roughly around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, peak heat during the day, it was about 25-30 degrees. It was extremely hot. I'd ran out of my fuel, my water,
in my pack, so I had to always just go between station to station, which were between 7 and 10 kilometers apart. So I'd always be going without nourishment, hydration, fuel for a good 30-40 minutes per segment, which was extremely challenging. But roughly about 30 kilometers in, that is when things started getting hard, really challenging mentally, physically. I'm going to be honest, the only thing I could think about, right, because it was a very separated race. Some people were ahead, some people were behind, everyone was running their own race. So there was points I was running for miles upon miles without seeing another competitor, which was very challenging psychologically, because I didn't know where anyone was, I didn't know where I was. But it was getting really hard roughly around 30 kilometers in, and all I could think about was, I want to throw the towel in, I want to give up, I want to steal someone's bike and cycle back, no one would know. All these different things were going on in my head, and it's like when you're going through the fucking ringer and you're really challenged with something like this, when you're really pushing your body and your mind as hard as you possibly could, you start making up these little stories, you start telling yourself these little things, you start making up little narratives in which you'd want to potentially try. As I said, like things like stealing somebody's bike, stealing a kid's bike and cycling back, because no one would know if I just ditched the bike a kilometre before I get to the finish line. Things like that, which are absolutely crazy. You start imagining all these things that you want in life. Imagining that, oh, if you just give up now, no one would know, no one would care, people forget about things. I just kept thinking all this kind of stuff, but you have to ask yourself in a situation like that, who would know? And it's you. It's always going to be you that would know whether you gave up or not, whether you gave your all or you didn't. And I'm one of those type of people that is always going to be willing to give it their all. So the race, about 5 hours 15 minutes, 5 hours 10 minutes all in of zone 2, just moving, working, grinding. It was not easy. It was not easy. My legs are still tender, knees, hips, ankles. The sunburn is definitely the worst. I feel like my body's been cooked from the inside out. As I've said, I've got blood clots in my nose, keep picking out big rocks of blood. I've felt just a bit disconnected, just a little bit like, whoa, just knackered physically and mentally, because everything I've done over the last 7 months has led up to that point, from a sense of obviously pushing business, my relationship, hiring staff, building a team, becoming a better leader, being the best son I can, the best brother, best partner, everything I've done, especially now kicking off this trip that we're on for the next 70 days, travelling Australia, New Zealand. Like, everything's led up to this moment of just trying to create the best me I possibly could. And now that I've ticked that big performance goal off, it feels quite weird to be not gunning for that anymore. But it is what it is. Like anything in life, when you get to the top of the mountain, the air is thin, the space is tight, you have to come down and go again. So the book's not over, we're just on to a new chapter. But the marathon itself, it was a tough cookie, but it won't be the last one. Anyway guys, I'll see you in the next scene. Catch you later. So when you are actually trying to maintain a decent physique without absolutely fucking it on all the amazing foods in which you feel you've never had access to before, comes down to just having some core standards in place. And I'm going to show you some of the foods that I've been eating whilst being away and give you some principles to maybe lean into when you're travelling yourself if you're trying to maintain a decent rig. So when it actually comes to the morning is where you're probably going to either start the day well or fail straight away. And especially if you're staying at a hotel and you've got access to a buffet, it can be one of the most tempting places in the world with all the cakes, pastries, all the fatty cuts of meat, and quite frankly no limitations onto what you can actually eat. So in the morning I tend, even though we're paying for breakfast, I tend to try skip breakfast and just have coffee and hydrate myself, because if I start eating first thing in the morning between, let's say, 7 and 9, the amount of calories I can consume in one sitting are quite frankly outrageous, and I'm sure you guys are the exact same, especially if there's cakes and pastries and stuff like that there. But I always try to put that fasting window in place, and let's say I break the fasting window, I'll try lean into having some eggs and some bacon, something quite familiar, something I know that I can keep a rough guesstimate of when it comes to the tracking principles, and it's something that's going to be high in protein, moderate in fat, and low to no carbohydrates. Later through the day, you want to be smart, you want to be moving a lot, you want to be expending a lot of energy. Let's say you've not managed to train but you're out a big day in the town, in the city, make sure you're bagging as many steps as possible. We want to be pushing those steps between 10 and 15k, just to give you that little bit of a safety net, let's say, from the other food you're eating. Because I don't expect anyone to track nutrition on holiday unless they're doing a photo shoot or a bodybuilding show or something like that, where their physique is the most important thing to themselves in the world. So having that kind of buffer of having those 10-15k steps, and will maybe burn between 400 to 600 calories, so you're already going to be putting yourself into a nice little deficit already in that day. But the main meals in which you want to have to be centered around protein. And yeah, it's nice to have pizza, pasta, burgers, all that kind of good stuff. I'd just be a little bit sparse with them. Maybe one of those kind of meals every other day rather than every single day, because the amount of gluten, the high saturates, the amount of fucking carbs and fats and whatever else in them, they can bag you up. You can find yourself getting bloated, and then one thing leads to another and you're not in a good spot with your physique. You just feel a bit doughy. So the meals that I've been trying to have are like mixed grills, making sure I'm getting between like 80 and 120 grams of protein with those individual meals, or getting like big steaks, like a tomahawk steak or something, because when you can have something like that, you're already buying yourself a good window or a good safety net of protein. Because that way, if you have one big meal like that, then you only need, let's say, a protein shake or a protein bar on top of it to near enough hit your protein for the day. And that's going to be one of the most important things when it comes to actually holding your physique, because protein's going to satiate, it's going to keep you full. So you want to make sure that protein is nailed first and foremost. Okay, so fasting window, a lot of steps, hitting high protein meals. And when it comes to your dinners out, right, in the evening, let's say, that's when you want to kind of go to town a wee bit. You want to relax, you want to enjoy yourself, have what the fuck you want, have a little bit of flexibility. It's dinner time, you're with your partner, you're with your friends, whatever it may be. That's when you can have a little bit of fun. But a little rule, let's say you've got a lot of body fat to lose and you're on holiday, a smart kind of rule to have is if you're having alcohol or you're wanting a dessert, you can have one or the other, but you can never have both. Okay, you can never have both, because that's when you fall into the red zone and you're just being gluttonous. Last night I may have had both, but I just ran a marathon the previous day, so I'm going to give myself that. But if you've not ran a marathon, don't do that. Don't be a cupcake, right? Do not be a cupcake. So just be smart. It's all about standards, principles, and eating to kind of fuel rather than full. So when you just always stuff yourself and there's bread on the table and you have a high carbohydrate meal, and then you have an ice cream, then you have another high carb meal, then you've had all these pastries and cakes in the morning, it's like it can only take a few days before you see your physique start to downfall and you start bagging on too many pounds that you actually didn't ever want to gain. And I read a study recently, and it was 9 out of 10 people, every time they go on holiday they gain 1 pound, right? But they never lose that pound. Imagine how many holidays you will go on over the course of your life. Let's say you go on 4 a year, right? You get a pound, that's 4 pounds of fat. You do that over 40 years. Do the math. 160 pounds of fat. I'm not going to say you're 160 pounds of fat overweight, but it can happen very easily. So it's just about keeping those standards in check, having those principles, lean into high protein, lean into your steps, your movement, stay nice and hydrated, having a fasting window in place, and even simple swaps, simple wee swaps. I just had some sorbet there instead of an ice cream, and again you're going to save yourself some calories, some fats. You're not having like rich gelato, you're having more fruity, kind of lower calorie options, which can help. Every little helps. But again, tonight, because I've had a big meal this afternoon, had a little bit of a dessert there, I might not drink today. I might not even have that beer or that wine. And then for this evening, because me and Amy have ate big this afternoon, probably have a lighter dinner. And there we go, 2 main meals, a dessert or a drink, lots of movement, lots of hydration, lots of water, and make sure you're training every other day. And believe you me, you'll hold on to your rig through any holiday.